What a joy it is for me to be here this evening with all of you. I bring the greetings of Father General. Unfortunately, he cannot be here with us, but he knows that we are together and he sends his regards to each one of you and his blessing. So, what makes the OCDS vocation so attractive all over the world? Because we have members in so many places. The OCDS vocation goes beyond cultures, countries, nationalities. They all find something in it, and they want to be part of it. I believe that in our world today, there is a crisis of identity. You see, we are bombarded with so much information. We have so many choices. We go here, we go there, and we struggle to find a place that we can call home. You see, the people in the OCDS find this identity because they know who they are. A secular Carmelite, wherever he goes, he knows who he is. He knows who she is. You know, if I'm at work, even in my own family, at school, wherever I go, I know I'm a secular Carmelite, and I know how I am to live. You know, I know the direction, I know where I am going. And this gives a great security in our own lives. We are not to be wondered, you know, where are we going to go or do. You know, the OCDS has an identity in itself, and many people are looking for this, and they found it in the OCDS. I want to share with you some of the things that are happening all over the world, because there is a great desire of OCDS to get to know each other. What are people doing in Asia? What are people doing in Latin America? What are people doing here in the United States, in Europe? So that is something very important. I want you to know what we do in the Secretariat in Rome, so that you know we don't only take care of the OCDS. The OCDS is the main apostolate, but we also take care of the aggregated institutes. These are the institutes that live a Carmelite spirituality and want to be aggregated to the order. So they ask to be part of the great family of the Discalced Carmelite order. Just to give an example, for example, the religious congregations founded by Father Palau. No? They are not members of our order, but they are aggregated to the order. They are not members at all. So also, we take care of the confraternities of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, another beautiful vocation that, you know, you see all these people who get together to promote devotion to Our Lady of Mount Carmel. They also can be canonically established, but they are not members of the order as you are. No? And also there are the Pious Union of St. Therese and the Pious Union of the Infant of Prague. So we have the records of all of this, but especially the OCDS. Why? Because you are members of the order. We do not say anymore the third order, because you can hear that all the time. Oh, I belong to the third order. No, you don't belong to the third order. You're secular Carmelites. No, you are members of the same family, friars, nuns, and seculars, called to a different vocation, but sharing the same spirit. So we are all first order Carmelites, all of us. So just to give you an idea, I want to tell you that the OCDS is present in 97 countries. Can you believe it? There are places in which there are no nuns or friars, but the OCDS, they present us in all these places. But of course, something that we have to always remember is that the secular Carmelites is all about communion. No one is isolated. No, even if there is just one community in one country, they are not by themselves. They are in communion with all of us, and we pray for each other, and they try to keep in contact with the center of the order and with other provinces of the OCDS. You see, this information I'm presenting to you is from 2019. So this is already old information, you see? But it was published in 2021. So according to these statistics, there are about 29,000 secular members in the order. So you are the majority. Just to give you an idea, we friars, we are about 4,000. We friars, 4,000. And Carmelite nuns, 8,500, more or less. So that you can see. So in many places, it's impossible to have all Carmelite spiritual assistants for the communities, and some of the Carmelite nuns also accompany the OCDS. But the important thing is just to know that we are in communion with each other, that we help each other. There are places in which, they don't get to see a Carmelite friars in a long time, but that doesn't mean that they are separated from the order, or that the order is not paying attention to them. On the contrary, especially in those places where they are far away, we need to make them feel part of this great family of the secular order. So, I was going to ask you that. Did you know that the United States is the country with more OCDS in the world? Did you know that? So it is just amazing. So that means that many of you have found, in the secular Carmelite order, the way, to get closer to God, in order to grow and enrich your spiritual life. And you see, I'm presenting you the provinces with more OCDS in the world. And I made a research, from 2013. That was the previous publication of the census of the OCDS. And as you can see, the numbers are about the same. It has not changed much. That means that it's really stable, the number of vocations to the OCDS, or is growing in other places as well. And this is the same information, but by continent. Asia is the continent with more OCDS in the world, altogether. And as well, just going back a little, you can see that South Korea is the second country with more OCDS in the world. Yeah, and they are very, very active and very committed to their vocation. And as you know, if you consider the size of the United States and the size of South Korea, that tells you something. Yeah. So Asia is the continent with more OCDS. So that's the latest information we have for the United States. The Washington province is the province with more OCDS in the world. So you're number one. You're number one. Of all those 6,000, out of the 29,000, 6,000 are here in the United States. 4,000 more or less in the Washington province, about a little bit less than 2,000 in the California province, and a little bit less of 1,000 in the Oklahoma province. But it is so beautiful to see how you are working together, how you support one another. It really feels like a big family here of the OCDS in the United States. And that is really beautiful, and an example for many other places, I'm sure. What is happening, more or less, are some of the things that are happening. Something that, formation is something very important in the secular order. So I know that you're implementing your new formation program in the United States. I am always presented as an example to other places, because it's really beautiful that 3 different provinces are working together and having the same formation program. And the same has happened in Italy. Italy, there are 6 circumscriptions of the OCDS, and they put together also a national formation program that they are implementing right now. So that you can have an idea, there are 52 circumscriptions of the OCDS, the OCD in the world, because as we know, the OCDS depend directly in the province of the friars. See, because the church entrusted to the friars the pastoral care of the OCDS. So all the OCDS communities present in a circumscription belong to that province. In this case, Washington, all the communities of the OCDS present in the Washington province have as their superior the provincial of that circumscription. So I'm talking about Italy. So 6 circumscriptions that did the same. They work on a formation program for the whole country, and it's working really, really good. People are very happy. There is more contact with the center of the order. As I was telling you, there are 97 countries. So we need a place where we can all unite ourselves and know what is happening. And some of the communities that were a little bit isolated, we have contact with them now. And that makes a huge difference, in our relationships and in promoting that spirit of communion and unity. I'm covering, can you see? Probably not, because I'm in the middle of it. Are you okay? Yes? Okay. Well, also there are many petitions for canonical erections. As you know, a canonical erection can only be granted to Father General, from Father General. And canonical erection gives stability in the diocese, wherever they are. And it is important that the bishop knows that there is an OCDS community there. No, because once you are canonically established, you are registered as well, in their directory, and it's really beautiful to know that. And then also gives could become a juridical person, also the community that is established. And as you know, we were talking about it this morning. In order to do that, of course, there is the need of discernment, but a minimum that you can have to ask for a canonical erection is 10 members. And you become a member of the order when you make your first promise. That's the time when you become a member of the order. So in order to ask for a canonical erection, you need to have 2 members with the final promise and 8 members in the temporary promise, the minimum you can have. Well, I want to show you some pictures. And all the pictures that you will see, I want you to see all the communities around the world. I want you to see that you have brothers and sisters who have been called to live this vocation, and how happy they are. They really, something that I have observed in the places I have visited is this sense of fulfillment and joy. This commitment, I'm a secular Carmelite. They feel proud of it and they are committed. It is not the same thing to belong to a family than to feel part of the family. No? Feeling part of the family is you're giving your own life right there. In this vocation that the Lord has called you to live. But before that, I will show you those pictures, but this is important also. As you know, you have to work on your statutes. Each circumscription has statutes, and that is how are you going to implement the constitutions that apply to all OCDS in the world, but in your own country, in your own region. So it's important to review them now and then, and I know that some of you are in the process of updating your statutes. So that is very important. Now, as I was telling you, the OCDS communities belong to the circumscription in which they are present. So when the OCDS provinces change, that has an effect on the OCDS because they have to restructure themselves because there are new circumscriptions. And that has happened in Spain, for example. Right now, there are 2 provinces in Spain, the Iberic Peninsula circumscription and the Navarre. So, but the Iberic province, there were 5 provinces together who decided to become one. I'm talking about the OCDS fathers. So what happened? So the whole OCDS had to restructure themselves to become part of that family. So it was a process of integration, but it's working really, really good. They're working together now, you see? And the same thing happened in Canada. See that the English-speaking Canada, that region was given to the Karnataka Goa province. It's a province from India. And now they have to do the same thing to restructure themselves. Always, we try to promote ways in which we can all work together, nuns, friars, and seculars, as we said, members of the same family. Something else, we need to work more on bringing awareness of the OCDS vocation, to get to know better our roles within the order, because sometimes we are not aware. For example, in many cases, the friars do not know very well the OCDS do not know very well their role, or the Carmelite nuns. But now I have seen more people are asking, please, can you tell us more? Can you share with us the documents of the secular order? Can you please talk about the role of the spiritual assistant? Because the spiritual assistant is not the the superior of the community. We know to know, they accompany the community, they help with discernment, but you see the levels of authority are this. The first one is the local council, the local council. Then the second level would be the provincial, the major superior in that circumscription, and then Father General. I know that you have provincial councils, and we thank you so much for the hard work you do. But you see, you elect those people in those councils, the communities, but the provincial council does not have executive power. Obviously, we support them in what they do because we chose them. No? But so that you know, those are the levels of authority in the secular order. Vocation promotion is very important. As I was telling you, there are many people out there who are looking for this, for a way to follow, something that will help them to grow in the relationship with God, something that will help them to understand who they really are. But obviously, it is a vocation. The Lord calls it. It was not you who chose me. It was I who chose you to come to Carmel. That's how special each one of our vocations is. But of course, we need to let people know that the OCDS is present and that they can probably be called also to this kind of life. Helping the apostolate of the OCDS. And I'm saying everything that we have received is to be shared. That's for sure. Because when we share, everything multiplies. We know that. And even if we have even more than what we need. The OCDS have been very generous in many ways. I just want to remind you of something that happened in the time of Father Aloysius Dini. They had their meetings and all that, but it was decided by then, that the OCDS in the world would help the central office in different ways. For example, he said, it would be good if each one of the OCDS members in the world would help, the central office with $1 a year, $1, no more. And many provinces, circumscriptions have been doing that, and I thank you so much for that. Even though from very poor countries, they have not forgotten that. And that is used for the apostolate of the order, for projects. And I'm not talking about material things. Also, there is help information in helping others to write the statutes, to develop their formation programs. For example, something I can mention, you see in Africa, there are many vocations to the OCDS now. But in the Paris province, they have developed a really nice formation program, and they make these worksheets for formation. And they say, here they are. Please share them with the people who need them, especially in Africa. So they are very, very generous in many different ways. So in whatever way you're helping the order, thank you so much. Because as we said, we are part of the same family. I know, and it's something that happened here in the Washington province, I know that you are familiar with, that of course we prepare for the temporary promise. That's the first step, first to be welcome into the order. But when the first commitment is the temporary promise, and we have a problem not only in the Washington province, but all over the world, that those promises sometimes expire. Because when you make, you make those promises, you make those promises for 3 years, for 3 years. And if you don't renew them or make your final promise, in a certain way, you're out on the order. Right? So we have not been paying attention to that. For me, it has been a great surprise, but we are working of really taking care of that. Obviously, if that is your case, there is no problem because your promise is valid. You are still here, and your intention was to be in the order. But it is irregular, so we need to take care of that. So that pay attention so that the temporary promises do not expire, in your communities. And something, something that we would like to do, and we are now working and talking with the Vatican, is to have the ritual for the OCDS updated. You see, the ritual is not approved by the order, nor are the constitutions. It is the church themselves who who approve all that. When the church approved your constitutions, it was declaring that there was a way to sanctity, to become an OCDS. It was not the order, it was the church who says that. So the ritual, we have to follow whatever directions we receive from Rome. But you see, right now, the ritual requires always to have a priest, for all those ceremonies. And we know how difficult it is. No, to have a priest, a Carmelite priest sometimes even more difficult. Huh? But it's difficult, and there are cases in which, because of the lack of priests, those promises expire. So we are working with the Vatican to see the possibility, an extraordinary situation, of course, that if there is no one, a priest who can be there to receive those promises, or something happen on the way, to allow the president of the community to receive those promises. Of course, we would love to have it in the context of a mass. Obviously, in all of us, and it's really beautiful. But what if it's not possible? I knew about a case here in the United States, and maybe you told me, Loretta, that someone who had already organized, the ceremony for the final promise, invited family, bought flowers, this and that, and the priest never showed up. So that should not be an obstacle so that the OCDS can continue on their journey. In the best of cases, we will always have priests, even if they are not Carmelites, but that should not be an obstacle. But, we are proposing that to the Vatican, but it is not up to us. That's why they have the final word, but know that we are working on it. We are working on it, and that will be really beautiful, because they will be delegated, by the legitimate superior in order to do that. So we will keep you informed. Actually, there was a meeting this month, but the person at the Congregation for Liturgy changed the appointment to September. So let's see what happens. Okay, here are the pictures. All the pictures you will see are post-pandemic. They are all new. Some of them have been sent to me. In some other places I have the privilege to be there. But just to know. Argentina, that's a national assembly, many vocations. Austria, there are 4 communities of OCDS, and you can see all ages are represented. You see, in some places they are very worried, because they say, how can we attract more young people, and we need more young people. You see, when is the right time to come to the secular Carmelites? When the Lord calls you. When the Lord calls you, that's the right time. We were in a meeting discussing that, and then we were, we need more young people. And then a lady of a certain age, she got up and said, well, you will all forgive me, but, sometimes the Lord calls some in the morning, some in the afternoon, and, he called almost at night, she said, almost at night. But she said, but the day I became a secular Carmelite, I was born again. So you see what it meant for that person, and not only for her, but for so many. So when the Lord calls you, that's the right time, of course. We have to discern the vocations, of course. Bolivia. You see many young people also. Brazil, there are so many. That's also a national assembly, and there are so many vocations in Brazil. There is a city that is Fortaleza, the northeast of Brazil. There is a community that has divided already 4 times because of the number of vocations. So just to give you an idea. You see, people could find in the OCDS what they are looking for. And this sense of joy, of direction, of belonging. They have found all that in the OCDS. The Dominican Republic, Colombia, there are many secular Carmelites, and they are very well organized. They are very strong in vocation promotion. Cuba, in Cuba there are a couple of OCDS communities, aging communities. As you know, it's not very easy. Many things there, but you can see the young man there. His name is Alex. he's 19, and he said, "Oh, I'll do anything I have to do in order to become an OCDS." He's already wearing his scapular and very happy. And I want to introduce you someone from Cuba. I had the privilege to meet her. She died just 3 months ago. She was 90, around 90, and something that I try to do, and I really enjoy that, is when I visit a place, I try to go to visit the elderly who cannot come to the community, or the sick. So we went to visit Martha, and I asked her, what does it mean for you? She was an OCDS for 70 years. And she showed us her certificate the day she signed 70 years ago. And that's what she said, for me, being an OCDS has been a privilege. And I feel so blessed to belong to the Order of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And that is very important, because we cannot understand our vocation without the presence of the Virgin Mary. She's our model. She's the model of all secular Carmelites. So we belong to the Order of Our Lady, and we enjoy her protection, special protection. So may she rest in peace, and what a great example she is. Ecuador, also many vocations to the secular Carmelites. El Salvador. You see, there are the 6 countries of Central America. There are one province, only one province, because it's the circumscription of the friars. In the provincial council, there is a member of each country as part of the provincial council. What helps is that they all speak the same language, but they are very strong, the Central America province, the OCDS. You will see some other pictures. France, 2 provinces of OCD and also of OCDS, so they are working also together. This was a formation meeting. And that was the first place I was invited to go when I became the general delegate for the OCDS. Ghana, you see, my vocations are grown in Africa. You see how elegant they are. They all dress very elegantly. There is only one community in Ghana, and there is another one in formation in the capital, in Accra. So, and already they meet at the nuns, but you see the parishes all around are already asking, how can we become secular Carmelites? How can we begin a community in our own place? You see, they see something in them that they say, I want to have what they have. What do they have? So, you see? Guatemala, also part of the Central American province. Honduras, there was no CDS in Honduras, but these lay people, they began this community themselves. It was not the fathers who said, oh, you should found a new community here. No, they said, no, we want a community here. And this year they will make their temporary promise already. All of them. Hungary. You see, there are just a few friars in Hungary, but there are 15 communities of the OCDS. And it's really beautiful. They are very well prepared. So that you are the majority of the order, and don't be surprised. The order will call you more often to positions of leadership. And don't be afraid, because you are very well prepared. And in the OCDS, we can find people from all different backgrounds, from university professors, politicians. In Hungary, I met an actress. She was telling me, Father, it is so hard, because sometimes, I cannot accept certain roles that they propose me. I mean, it is a sacrifice for me, but for me, it's more important to keep my values. I'm an OCDS. Ballerinas, peasants, people who work in the fields, grandmothers, mothers. I mean, everybody is represented in the OCDS. And everybody is welcome, of course. Iceland. No, well, yes, you can see they have the mantles, and they have the big scapulars. They were formed by the Carmelite nuns, as you can see. But you see, something particular about this community, they were all Lutherans. And they converted to Catholicism, and then they asked to become OCDS. Three of them are to make their final promise this October already. But you see, seeing them like dressing like that, the way we dress, it also communicates something. So the general definitory, they are very keen in like, be careful how you dress because you are seculars. You are not imitation of friars or nuns, and that has to be very well explained in your statutes. Just to give you something that happened regarding that, I will not mention the country, but there was a meeting with the OCDS with the bishop, and then one sister from the secular Carmelites, she came to the meeting, but dressing as a Carmelite nun. You see? And that was not the problem. The problem is that she was pregnant. Yeah, true story. So you just can imagine. So the bishop immediately said, "What's happening here?" So like, "Oh no, Your Excellency, don't worry about it. She's from the secular order." But why is she dressing like that? So we have to be careful about those things. In most places, what you will see is the scapula, that you're wearing. I know that you're wearing it. You see a community from India. You see how beautiful they are dressing as they dress. They have a uniform that they use on their scapula. Yeah, there are many OCDS in India. In Indonesia, that was a beautiful surprise. I made the visit to Indonesia recently. But that was my last visit. Well, no, it's not the last, but I went there. And in Rome, the only information we had is that there was one community in Indonesia, and we didn't have the number of members. So when I arrived in Indonesia, I find 15 communities of the OCDS. Can you believe it? And it was very inspiring seeing them, because we had different meetings. But in one of the meetings, very early, we have morning prayer at 5 in the morning and then mental prayer until 7. And then, you see, it was just amazing. And these people I'm talking to you about, they were people who work in the fields, and just to see them praying the rosary like nothing. But then when the recreation time came, it was time to recreate. We danced, we sang. I mean, it's like, wow, what a beautiful thing to have all the different aspects of our vocation integrated. So it was really beautiful. Mount Carmel, there was no community on Mount Carmel. The religious that you see there, they are all invited. They are not part of the community. They were there just for the event. But now there is a community on Mount Carmel. It's a small community that has challenges because the members, you see, some speak Arabic, some of them speak Hebrew and other languages. English was chosen as the unifying language, of course, but keep them in your prayers. But now we have the 3 branches of the order on Mount Carmel. And in the midst of the war, there is a new community also in Bethlehem. That's the Carmel of Saint Mary of Jesus Crucified. So this is a new community. They were just welcomed into the order, and Sister Ferial, that's her name. She accompanies them. Strong women in the Holy Land. Italy, as I was telling you, 6 circumscriptions working together. Europe is the country with more OCDS vocations. I mean, Italy is the country with more OCDS vocations in Europe. La Reunion. You know what La Reunion is? No? But it's an island in the Indian Ocean. You see, it's a country. Well, there is a community of the OCDS, as you can see, and we are always invited to communicate with others, not to be isolated. So they belong to the Madagascar circumscription, and now they are working together. Madagascar, La Réunion, there are 3 different countries. Madagascar, La Réunion, that belongs to France, and Maurice. You will see another picture of that. Madagascar, many vocations also. We had some meetings. As you see, they chose to have a uniform, and so say, well, they look like the sisters of Father Palau. But some of them were telling me, we chose a uniform because we all come from very different backgrounds, and just not to go beyond social status and things like that. Here we are all Carmelites. So, but just so that you can have an idea, I will show you a little video about the meeting in Madagascar. You know, this man that you're seeing, he was not an OCDS. His wife was an OCDS. And he didn't go to church or anything like that. But, you know, he began to see how the atmosphere in his home was changing. And he said, well, what is happening? You know, he began to question his wife. I said, you come and see. Come and see. And then he became an OCDS. He became an OCDS. His wife unfortunately died. She had a disease, but he said, I'm not going any place. I'm staying here. And now he's the president of his community. So this was a formation meeting. Some of the people you will see walk 3-4 hours to be there. And you would see them happy, you know, just to be there for formation and that joy that you can just see, you know, so naturally. So let me show you so that you can have an idea. All of them information. Can you count them? And you will see a couple of Carmelite nuns there. You know, they accompany the communities. I had the opportunity to talk to them, and the stories they told me is just amazing. You know? We also have to be very thankful to our Carmelite nuns for what they do. Well, that gives you a good idea of the, you know, like, you see, those are your brothers and sisters, you know, who are following the same path, you know, who have received the same vocation, and they have found their happiness and purpose in life, motivation. The island of Maurice that I was telling you now, they're working together, Maurice, La Reunion, and Madagascar. Mexico. Mexico is one of the countries also with more OCDS. You know? It's really beautiful. Well, in that meeting, there were some members of the confraternities of Valerio Mount Carmel who also attended the meeting, so they are all mixed. You know, and when you ask, what vocation is better? You know, the OCDS of the confraternity? You know, the confraternity. No, the OCDS. No. What is the most beautiful vocation? The one that the Lord has called you to live in your life. You know, that's it. In Nigeria is also very elegant how they dress. There are 6 communities in Nigeria, really, really beautiful. Panama, also very strong with the vocation promotion. Yeah. Paraguay also. Peru, 6 communities, very, very, with many vocations, as you can see. That's just one of them. Puerto Rico, that was the last place I visited. You know, as you can see, they are very joyful and happy. There are 3 communities of the OCDS in Puerto Rico. Spain, that was the first assembly of the newly founded province, the Iberic province. They chose the new provincial council. They have written their statutes. They're working on their formation program. So they're integrating very well. So wherever you go in Carmel, you're at home, you see. There are so many things that identify us. Ukraine, there are 4 communities in Ukraine of the OCDS. The lady kneeling in red, she's Veronica. She's the president of the National Council of OCDS. And you see during the war, they're still at war. They receive a lot of support from the OCDS. You know, I saw it because many of those letters passed through me. Those messages giving them hope, and Veronica told me, please tell everyone how grateful we are. You see, Veronica lost her house, you know, where one of those bomb fell down, and you know, He just lost her house. But they have received a lot of support from the OCDS, from the order, and they are also very happy to be part of the great family of the OCDS. Uruguay, they're also present, and there are 3 countries that belong to a vicariate. It's Bolivia, Paraguay, and Uruguay. See? What helps in those international things is that they speak the same language. See, so it's not that difficult. Venezuela, very strong OCDS. There are about 15 communities there. And I want to, as you know, the political situation is not the best right now, and many people have immigrated because they are looking for a better life. But some people have decided also to stay. And that was the case of a community of the OCDS. They are mostly doctors who decided to stay in the country, like say, no, we want to stay here because we want to help. And you see, they began a project. They began a project in the community, they talk about it, that they decided to go into the jungle and to help people. And then this initiative became larger and more people were interested. So then many people joined, not even people who were not OCDS. And now it has become something really big, because we know that the main elements for the OCDS vocation is, of course, like the fraternity, the mission, your identity, the life of prayer. So mission is important. We are all called to do something, and what all OCDS do, at the parish or in different places. But just to give you an example of something that happened there in Venezuela, something that began in the OCDS, but it has gone beyond that. So I will show you. It's in Spanish because there is no translation in English, but they shared with me this video of what is happening in Venezuela right now, thanks to this project.
Luego de un viaje de turismo al delta del Orinoco y ver las necesidades de diferentes comunidades indígenas guaraos, un matrimonio de médicos y una viajera apasionada de Venezuela se unieron para darle a esas familias olvidadas en esos parajes salvajes una jornada de salud.
So they go different doctors and they see people, they bring medicine.
En poco tiempo se organizaron, recolectaron medicinas e insumos y partieron rumbo a Caño Guamal, estado del Tamacuro. Fue en septiembre del 2016 cuando 25 voluntarios de Lara, más colaboradores del sector salud de Tucupita, cargados de entusiasmo, hicieron la primera jornada de atención médica, donde se realizaron 800 consultas médicas y odontológicas. Esa gratificación en los rostros de los guaraos fue la semilla e impulso para comenzar Fundación Naguaraos, conformada principalmente por voluntarios residentes del estado Lara.
And now they are also people involved teaching them how to take care of the land, how to take care of the animals, or really improving their way of life.
Indígena que se atendió. Meses más tarde, se unieron más voluntarios para asistir al segundo operativo, esta vez en Navasanuca, del Tamacuro, a 5 horas de navegación.
The video is a little bit long. I just wanted to give you a little taste. You can imagine the rest of it, because we will not have the time to watch it all. But you know that everything began in the OCDS, and it's just a matter of beginning. And you see, really, it's not what we do. What gives value to what we do. It is the love we put into it. Everything done out of love for us, for even if it's small, has an immense value in the eyes of God. I met an older lady who was saying like, I'm old. What should I do? I cannot teach catechism. I cannot go there. I cannot go there. Don't lose your peace. Prayer is also an apostolate. You see, yes. Do as we were saying, the Saint Teresa said, what can I do? The world is in flames. What can I do? I cannot do much. But she said, I know what I will do. I will do the little I can in order to make a difference, especially around me. And I think all of us can do that. Okay, we're almost finished. Okay, we know that the main postulate of the OCDS is their family. No, that's your first call, to take care of your family, be there, be present. But I would say that the second one would be your Carmelite community, your local community. Because if we belong to the order, it's because we belong to a community. So take care of your communities, promote dialogue, respect, love. That is very, very important, because before we go out to tell the world all the wonderful things that God can do in their lives, or that Carmel can do in their lives, we need to live it ourselves first. Then, we will be able to say, I know because I have lived it. I know that this can be something positive in your own life. So don't forget about that. The importance of ongoing formation. There is a priest in Italy, an older priest, who taught me a saying. He said, "Fino alla bara si impara." So the translation is, until they don't put you in your coffin, there is always something to learn. So don't lose your motivation, always. When we said, oh, I made it, I arrived, it's dangerous. No. Keep yourselves learning. There is always something new. Yeah? So it is very important. So the OCDS are always in permanent formation, ongoing formation, always. As I was saying, the statutes and the formation programs are not eternal. Now and then they have to be updated to consider new documents or new information that we have. Here in the United States, I don't think some of you are working on the updating of your statutes, but regarding the formation program, you have a very, very nice one. I was sharing today with the Interprovincial Council that a friar here from the United States, he wrote to me asking me, I saw the formation program for the OCDS. He said, do you think we can use it to form our novices? I was like, okay, well, you can take something from it. And the same thing happened in Hungary. They have a good formation program, and the nuns there, can we use also the program for our formation? I guess you can take little elements from here and from there, because we share the same heritage, right? And just to know, it is important to know that some OCDS members have been drawing attention, like this Victor Rodriguez. His process for beatification was opened in Spain. So there are interesting figures in the OCDS that, we will not be them, and we will not be any of the Carmelite saints, because we are who we are. They are just lights on our way that tells us that we don't have to die in order to be united with God. But it's good to know them. But all of us have to develop our own relationship with the Lord. You cannot live my relationship with the Lord, and I cannot live yours, because each call is unique. So develop your own spirituality, develop your own way of talking to God, because that is your vocation. It's so unique. There has never been, and there will never be, another person like us, like each one of us. And I mentioned here the martyrs of Compiègne. You know who they are, of course. They lost their head, and in the French Revolution. But I mentioned them because the bishops of France asked the Holy See to speed their canonization. They're martyrs. That's the highest status that someone can have. But I mention it because those who have been working on the cause for their canonizations are OCDS, from the Paris province. So you see that they're active in all different environments. So as you have seen, as I was saying, the OCDS vocation goes beyond nationalities or interests. People from all different backgrounds are called to live out this vocation. And as I was telling you at the beginning, people want to know, they want to get to know each other. You just saw a few pictures, but what if you see them in real life? That would be even better. But you see, there are always meetings of the OCDS, congresses like this one, or some international congresses, but they are always regional and only in one language. So in the history of the OCDS, there have been 2 world meetings only. One in 1996 in Rome, very small. It was beginning to develop the new sense of who the OCDS really are. And then in the year 2000, there was the second one, the 2000 in Mexico, there was a special meeting in which the purpose was to work on the drafting the constitutions for the OCDS. This was the meeting in Mexico. 140 people invited. It was not open to everybody, invited. So there were some people who were going to be there just to work on that document. And it was there that a commission was formed to work on your constitutions that are, as I was saying, it's really beautiful. And they have been approved in 2003. And the church is telling you that your vocation to the OCDS is a way to sanctity. It is the church, it's not the order who approved that. It was the church itself. So you can see our dear father, Aloysius Dini, there, who was the first general delegate for the secular order. So we owe him a lot. And that was the commission that worked for the constitutions. So since the year 2000, 25 years ago almost, there has not been another world meeting. So, and talking with the definitory, we said like, wouldn't it be nice, to have another one, since people want to really know each other? I mean, we want to develop more that says to belonging to the same family. Who are the OCDS? After 25 years of living out their constitutions, what do they have to tell to the world? So it was decided that there will be a world meeting. And that is, the days are already set. It's July 22nd to the 27th, 2026. The invitation was going to be sent last month, but the budget is not ready, but we are hoping to send out the invitation in September. I hope you will get it. And you're one of the first seeing the logo for the world meeting. It was developed by one OCDS. As you can see the world, OCDS, and the city. It will be in Avila, in Spain. And also because, there is something very important happening in 2026, It's the centenary of the declaration of St. John of the Cross as Doctor of the Church. So there will be, it's 4 days, 3 days conferences, we will work, but 1 whole day of recreation. So we are working on that. There might be visits to, probably we have to divide, because I was telling you, in the last meeting, there were only 140 persons by invitation. But here we are expecting to have 1,000. So, it's as considered. So there will be, this is the itinerary towards the meeting. So in September, we hope that we will send out the invitation for a participation survey so that we know who is interested in coming, and so that we can also divide the places in the world according to the interest, to give everybody the opportunity to participate and to represent their country. And something very important, next year, we're hoping to have, the pre-registration, of course, but also the census. We need to know how many OCDS are there in the world and where. So it's very important. And then, the last step will be having the meeting, the registration completing and the ending of the census. And in 2026, the world meeting in Avila. Our Father General will be there, of course. And, the title of that meeting is this: Witnesses to the Experience of God, the Identity and Mission. That also was designed for the world meeting. You can see the walls of Avila and the OCDS going there. Very nice. But we chose Witnesses to the Experience of God. Why? Because all of us have to be witnesses to the experience of God. So we all have our own experience, and we took that for part 3 of your constitutions. That's the title, Witnesses to the Experience of God. So how the Lord has led me in my own life, what is my experience of God, and we all have to say something about it, all of us. So, and also touch important topics, the identity, what is the identity of the OCDS, and their mission. And that includes prayer, fraternity, and other things that are fundamental, essential elements in the life of the OCDS. So, visiting Africa, I found that sign, that tells us so much. Bloom where you are planted. The Lord has called us to Carmel, but not just in general. He has called us to a specific place. And it is in that place that He will grant all the graces that we need in order to respond to His call. So wherever you are is the right place. If one day you have to go to another place, it will be the right place. But let us not fall into the temptation that sometimes we have, when I go there, when I do that, I will do something for God and for the order. No, you can do it here and now. Here and now, in my own town, in my own city. And whatever those CDS are doing all over the world, I'm doing it also, because we are doing everything in communion. See, I love when St. Teresa talking about what we do in our communities. Like, who cares if you are the president of the community or you are the one who has to wash the dishes, at the end of the meeting? St. Teresa would say, we are all serving the guests that is between us. The center of our communities is Christ. So no matter what we do, we are serving Him, and we want Him to be happy so that He doesn't go anyplace. So everything is important. And as I said, what we do, if we do it out of love, it has a great value. And let us not forget the promise, I like to remember that often, that Christ made to St. Teresa even before the foundation. She said, Carmel would be a shining star in the church, that St. Joseph would guard us at one door and Our Lady on the other. So we cannot have it better than that. And that He would be in our midst. He is the center of our communities, and He's the one who gives meaning to everything we do, to our vocation, our fraternity, and our mission. So I would like to finish with this part of the first letter that Father Miguel sent to the order when he became general. It was for the feast of St. John of the Cross. And he says, the order has before it a precious path of deep listening in the years to come. I invite you all, lay people, nuns and friars, to live this time using the key of listening and boldness, of that Teresian boldness, supporting one another and taking determined care to serve the Lord in the spirit of Mary's Magnificat and the loving daring of St. John of the Cross. Let us walk together.